broadcasting live from the Roanoke Valley of southwestern Virginia. Join us and see what life looks like from a medium's perspective with Reverend Tracey Lockwood, the medium's medium. We'll explore the tools of psychic development, hear stories and experiences from the other side, and learn to listen to our natural intuition. Now, our host, Reverend Tracey Lockwood.
Hello, beautiful lights, and welcome to another episode of From a Medium's Perspective. Before I get into the heart of our show, I just wanted to let you know that our first professional psychic mediumship certification program is underway. We're having a great time, and I will be offering it again in mid-August. So if you have an interest, let me know. It is a 14-week immersion program, and it gives you a substantial amount of practice giving readings and using about every technique that's available. We'll be doing readings beginning with the body basics and then the left brain tools, and then on to those that are commonly used for psychic readings, and then move into mediumship exercises and an introduction to channeling. For those of you that plan a career in psychic mediumship, this course would be good for you. It includes basic business tips and just a wealth of information. If you're just learning to use your gifts and abilities and exploring them for the first time and would like a comprehensive, structured program to develop them within, this program would be good for you as well. It is designed for individuals at all levels of practice, and if you're interested, you can find more information on my website at mediumtracylockwood.com. Well, today we have such an interesting guest, and like me, she doesn't really prefer the term psychic medium. I think because it's limiting and it distances the person that hears the word psychic medium from what it is that we really do. She is crystalline clear and precise in her readings, and she's known as the intuitive soul healer. She has been my student, but it was an equal exchange, I will have to say. So I feel like I learned as much from her as she can proclaim that she learned from me. And she's in a past life my big sister, and in this life she's my friend and colleague, intuitive soul healer Andrea Walker Hood. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you, Tracey, and thank you for allowing me to share and being on your show today. I'm very excited to be here.
Oh, I'm just tickled that you agreed to, and we have such interesting conversations. I felt like, oh, this would be excellent on the air. Give people an insight into what two pros talk about.
Right. Well, we have beautiful conversations, and they're always thrilling and exciting, that's for sure.
Definitely. Well, as you heard me announce, I'm just getting my course off the ground, and you've kindly agreed to sort of mentor and help with some of the closing, end of the session readings that people will be doing by letting them read for you and helping evaluate them, and offered other supports. I'm just curious, what advice would you give to someone that is starting their studies, learning to open up, not just in my program, but in general?
The best advice that I can give is to trust the process, because I think so often when we open up to this sort of mystic world of mediumship and psychic abilities and all the things that go with it, we have a tendency to doubt the messages and the information that's coming to us, because a lot of people think that it's going to be some grandiose voice or being, and maybe it is, but a lot of times it's things that come to you in your own mind.
Yeah.
And it comes to you in your own voice. And people dismiss that because they feel like they're kind of like playing a magic trick on themselves and they're making it happen. And I want to say that, you really have to trust spirit and trust yourself and be open to all the possibilities and just let spirit guide you along your path, because spirit source knows your true path and it's not going to lead you astray if it's the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's that offset, don't you think, between our left brain that we usually operate this world with, like who, what, where, when, how, why, versus our right brain that is so intuitive. And it's different when you put an emphasis and you put your numbers and your words to the side and the things that are already established aside, and you reach out into that world of dreams and feelings and sensation and learn how to speak that language as well as we speak the language here on earth. Yeah.
Well, it's your innate ability. You've had this ability since you came from non-physical. So it's really your job as a being on this planet to rediscover who you truly are. And by opening yourself up to who you once were, to rediscovering who you were and all the beings that you were in other lifetimes, you have all this knowledge accessible to you. All of it's written in the Akasha, and you can just sort of dip into it and let it pour over you and just enjoy it. And don't be afraid of it. Just remember to protect yourself and stay grounded and just really be open and allow all that comes to and for you.
Yeah, I like that you use the term rediscover. A lot of people sort of present it as like, I am the guru, and if you study and work hard, then you will reach the level that perhaps you can play with me, but perhaps you will never be quite as high as I. And really, that's just it is like you began laughing. It's laughable because we're all amazing beings that go far beyond the physical plane. And this is like you said, and it's my belief or knowledge. I would even say that it is natural to all life, not just human life, even.
Yeah, I mean that guru that doesn't, you can't touch me and I know all, and the only being that knows all is Source.
Absolutely.
And we all are beings from Source energy. We're all in the essence of Source energy, which is the I am presence, which is something I totally believe in. And that guru is the ego, because you have to let that go and step aside so that your true natural self can come forward.
Yeah, because it's limiting. Like if you think that you've arrived, or you think that, I've seen everything that's possible, or I've, sort of, but, there's nothing new under the sun. Keep thinking again, because there's more than one sun, for one thing.
Right.
But yeah. I don't know where you were going next with your thoughts, but I wanted you to take a minute and tell the listeners maybe why you chose the name Intuitive Soul Healer, or Soul Facilitator, or Intuitive Soul Guidance. Why did you choose that rather? And what is that? I think it's a fantastic term. I wish I could come up with a term that, describes what we do concisely, but I thought you did extremely well with that. Go forth and conquer. Tell us.
Okay. Thank you, Tracy. Intuitive Soul Healer, when I opened up, I've had these abilities ever since I was a little girl, from seeing auras around people to having one type of psychic or experience in this realm, that we work in, one after another. It continuously followed me through my life, and I thought ego that I knew best, and I chose the career that, oh, this is what I must do, and I went and did it. But, this part of my life never left me. So it got to a point when, I was older and basically finished with the career that I had set out to conquer, that spirit came for me, and it continually came for me until I recognized fully that it was there and it was not going away. And it got to the point for me where it shut down my life. I was completely non-functional in my daily life, to the point that I had to address it. It wasn't going to let me go. So when that happened, for some reason, one day I woke up and I started collecting crystals like a maniac.
I think they call to us. I think they call to us. I went through that phase too,
Yeah, and I had never been a crystal carrier or people that sunbathe are called sun worshipers. I've never been a crystal worshiper, so it was all new to me, and I was in love with all the new crystals that were coming my way and that I was taking ownership of, because actually I'm the guardian of them. So
yes.
And then one by one different things started coming for me. So it was really just allowing that process to unfold naturally in the way that it was meant to be for me. And when I did that, it took about 2 years for me to accept fully that this was something that I was going to do. And I basically just said to Spirit that if I do this and it works out, great. And if it doesn't, I'll go on my merry way. So, but either way, I was going to have to work with it because it was not going away, you see?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. It keeps going, doesn't it?
Yeah. And so I wanted to, I really thought for the internet's sake, I needed some sort of a name that would identify who I was. And at the time, intuitive really wasn't used a whole lot a couple of years ago. And then right after I decided on this name, I started seeing it in television commercials that cars were intuitive. And, it's like, it just popped up everywhere. So soul is something that, I was discovering my true soul self, my natural self, and my natural state of being, which was opening up to this world. And healing is what it did for me. By accepting my place in it, it actually healed me, and it continues to heal me. So
yes, me too. Just working in the energy, and assisting others with their, I don't know, I don't really like the term unfoldment because it's so awkward, but their self-discovery. I learn too. We learn too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of came together as intuitive soul healer. Now, I had many people tell me, you don't need a name. Just, use your normal name and people will find you and come to you as they need your assistance. And I'm thinking, well, that's all good and great, but what about the internet? If I just put my name up on the internet, nobody's going to know.
It's not a point of reference. No, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not famous, so how are they going to know, right? and so in the soul facilitator part, I actually had a session. Sometimes I like to do sessions with other healers, mostly out of curiosity, just to see what comes up and what messages are brought forth, and also I just like to see how other people work in the industry.
Yes,
it's
I
interesting.
did the same thing. It wasn't really that I had burning, passionate, lifelong solution questions or anything like that. I wanted to know their style. I wanted to just sit in the energy of it, and we learn energetically,
Right. And so I had a session with Paul Selig, who is a channeler, and he has a collective call that he just calls the guides, his guides. And when he did the session with me, I addressed this. I said, I struggled for years before I actually came out as the intuitive soul healer with the name. And I even, I put the sign on my car on the back window, and I would be at a stoplight and I would think, what do these people think when they're sitting behind me at the traffic light? And, you just have to get over that. And so,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, and by
ego.
the way, for the listeners, I usually do this at the beginning, and I'm sorry, I was remiss. If you want to kind of follow Andrea as she's talking, and go ahead and check out her site. Her site is intuitivesoulhealer.com. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and so I talked to him a little bit about this, and, when Paul speaks, he speaks directly from, he'll speak his words, but he speaks directly from his guides because he's a channel. And he said to me, his guide said to me, you need to you are a soul facilitator. And what that means is it's like guiding the people you work with in the realization of knowing in truth of your true soul self. And this was exactly the definition that he gave me from his guides. And then after he gave it to me, he said, the guide said through him, that they'd never, ever given anyone a job description before.
That's so
thought,
cool.
wow.
That's cool. But I love it. I love it because soul healer or soul facilitator, that is so much closer to what it is, rather than like psychic medium,
Yeah, and then he went on to say that it was creating the space for my clients or the people that I work with who my clients' own knowing to be realized within themselves. And he said, and they actually told me, use this as the description of what you do. And I thought, well, okay, it couldn't be any clearer, right?
And it's perfect. I mean, it's really perfect. I just love it.
Well, thank you. And, when I think of intuitive soul healer, when I think of those words, for me, it's that I'm working in the I am presence of divine through divine source energy. And that's what that means to me.
That is a familiar term for some of us that are in the field, but many of our listeners might not know exactly what you mean by the I am presence. Do you want to tell them a little bit about that?
The I am presence, you are an essence of source. And source can, it doesn't matter to me what religious faith you believe in. Source can be God, it can be, Buddha, it can be Ganesh, it's source. It's where all that is comes from.
The origin, the alpha and the omega.
Right.
Yes.
Right. It's the source. It's the source. So it's where all things originate, all things are created, all things come from. It is the source of all that is. And we are part of that. And part of that, all that is the I am presence. And that's your being, your true natural self as an essence of the divine. And that's what that means to me. So I hope I explained that well.
Yes.
So, you are here to realize your creator being, your Christhood through Christ, through source. So that's what I am presence means to me.
Yeah. The expression of the divine individually through you, but not dimmed down or less, not the whole, but not dimmed down or lesser than. Yeah.
And as you come into that knowingness of the I am presence of who you naturally are, you become more light, more enlightened through source energy. You become more of your true natural self. And that's what that means to me.
Right.
So,
and, when you talk about becoming more light or more of your true essence, a lot of contemporary dialogue for the last several years has talked about manifestation, thoughts becoming
Right.
things.
Right.
How does that tie together in your mind?
Well, you are a creator being from source. You are an essence of source of all that is. You are the being who puts forward all these thoughts and ideas into the universe that create your world and how you see it, because every individual on the planet has their own perspective, their own way of seeing their world and working in their world. And I'm here to tell you that every individual is working through their perspective. So just because your world works and functions this way for you, it works and functions a different way for me. And because of that, I see the things in my world, and the things that happen in my world are different than what happens in your world. And that is what I'm talking about when I say perspective, right?
Yes, perfect definition of perspective, yes.
Yeah, so we come from our own perspective, and thoughts, I've been to Esther Hicks before and sat in a workshop and experienced that beautiful energy and the collective physical beings coming together to be in the presence of the channeled collective known as Abraham through Esther Hicks. And she talks about, one of the things that she talks about is, thoughts matter. Thoughts actually in physicality turn into physical matter. So it's very important that you are careful what you are thinking, because you don't have to say it out loud for it to become made manifest. You just think it. And your thoughts are very, very powerful, because you are the creator being of your life. You are the creator, co-creator of your life through source, right?
Right.
So,
I was thinking the old term for it was psychogenesis.
Okay.
Yeah. Back in the spiritualist days of the 1800s, they called it psychogenesis. Process, and it's natural, right?
Yeah, oh sure, it's part of who you are. So you do this naturally without even thinking about it. It's just part of who you are and your essence. And so when you think thoughts, you want to think the most highest and most loving and beautiful thoughts, because that's the energy that you're pulling back to you, because it's like you're putting it out in front of you. The energy goes before you, and then you pull it back into you to bring the things into reality, right?
Right,
So
right. It's sort of like a smile. If you walk around smiling, likely you're going to have other people smile back at you.
Sure. I mean, you would hope so, right? So,
right.
So you want to create the most positive of thoughts, because thoughts turn into things. Thoughts are things. That's where she gets the thoughts are things. And the thought, the emotional, believing, physical part of that is your energy. And that's where your vibration comes in. And, when you're thinking these thoughts, you also put out a vibration into the universe or the world or your space that coincide, that go along with these, thoughts, kind of like when you think of the word thought, I'm seeing it like in a wavelength. And so it's like thoughts are, you're thinking, and they're moving in a wavelength. And with that comes the energetic vibration that coincides with that moves along with it. And those would be like the emotional energy that you're putting out. And that's why sometimes when you're not feeling your very best, or you're having a not so great thought, other people around you who are sensitive to these thoughts act in a cold or unloving way, because they can pick up on it too. So you want to keep your vibration very high and uplifting, because what you put out and what you feel about things, the feeling is the being. And that's the part people miss.
Yes.
What you feel is what you become.
Let that sink in a second. That's exactly right. What you feel is what you become.
So if you're walking around feeling great about yourself, then you're in essence becoming greater, a greater being and knowing who you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you really want to make sure that this is what I call lining your path. This is a phrase I use.
Mm-hmm.
You want to really line your path. Like if you think of a footpath or a walkway, you want to line it like, the saying for heaven is like streets of gold, right? So you want to line your path with the most positive and beautiful and uplifting thoughts, because all those words I've just said, positivity and beautiful and anything that you can think of as an adjective that describes something in a way that is just glorious and magnanimous and all these beautiful, loving words, that is the state of love. And
yes.
your life can operate in one of two ways. There's basically one of two ways to walk through your life. You can be in a state of fear where you're angry and upset and pissed off at the world and everything's a problem and you want to instigate arguments and you want to join in very controversial topics because they fuel your fire, so to speak.
Keeps your anger burning. Yeah.
Light a match under you. Yeah. Or you can turn that off like a light switch and you can be in the state of love where the thoughts are that you're generating, because we said earlier that that's also the vibration you're generating, is of a high vibration. It is full of beautiful thoughts that turn into things, and that's how you bring those things back to you in manifested form. So you want to line your path with the most benevolent, and benevolent means kind and gracious and loving thoughts, so that's the type of world and environment that you experience.
Yes, because when we create our world, we hear that phrase, create your world, and then immediately we start thinking about the actions that other people are taking towards us or externalizing the different things. But creating your world has much more to do with perception and how you view, going back to your concept of perspective.
Yeah. And so to make things manifest, the easiest way to make things manifest is to act in your highest excitement. And this is taken straight from Bashar, Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar. Act in your highest excitement to the best of your ability without, this is the key, without holding yourself to a particular outcome. And that's the path of least resistance that Esther Hicks also talks about, that you want to go in the path of least resistance.
Now, back to our show, from a medium's perspective, with host, Reverend Tracey Lockwood.
Welcome back. If you missed the first half of the show or you'd like to listen to any of our other past episodes, you can find them on YouTube. Just put in Medium Tracey Lockwood and you'll find the channel, and I'd love it if you subscribed while you were there. If you want to reach today's guest, her website is intuitivesoulhealer.com. Her name is Andrea Hood. And before we get back to our conversation, I'd like to thank Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com for the opportunity that they provide us to air our show. Revolution Radio is the largest free listener-supported radio station on the web. So please help support their efforts and our airtime by visiting the station's support page at freedomslips.com. Get yourself some juicy programming for your thoughts, and that's what we've been talking about. So I'd like to get back to our guest. And Andrea, you were talking to us about acting in your highest excitement without attachment to outcome. So let's take it from there. I thought that's an interesting phrase, act in your highest excitement without attachment to outcome.
Right. So we were talking about manifestation, and the best way to go about manifesting things in your life is, and I was saying, this is a phrase that Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar, says this is an exact phrase from a channeling, is to act in your highest excitement to the best of your ability without holding yourself to a particular outcome. And, and what that does is it puts you in the path of least resistance. And that's a phrase actually that all the Abraham followers will know, the path of least resistance, because Esther Hicks talks about that. And basically all of the channelers are talking about information in various ways to bring you back to source and to assist you in making the most of your daily life here on this planet, right?
Right.
So,
right.
So, if you say to yourself, well, that's all fine and good, but how do I start manifesting? Well, the easiest way to do it is, if you're having trouble manifesting, you want to think of the highest and most positive thought that you can think of in the moment. And if all that means to you is singing a song that makes you feel good, then that's what you do. A lot of times you're getting ready in the morning and you've got the radio on and you're singing the song, and you realize the more you sing the song or dance around, the better you feel. It's because that is your highest excitement in that moment. So you just want to, in each and every moment, try and find your highest joy, basically. So whatever makes you feel good, just keep going to that, whatever makes me feel good, that you can do in the moment to bring your vibration up, because you're raising your vibration. And as you raise your vibration, you're raising your thoughts along with it, like we were talking about at the top of the hour, about how lining your path with beautiful thoughts also raises your vibration, because your vibration has to match that. They go in tandem. They work hand in hand, right?
And I just want to point out, a lot of times people think, oh yeah, just do whatever you want and it's fine. That's not really reaching for your highest excitement or the best feeling.
Right.
Maybe you're craving pizza, and but you have a wheat allergy, or you don't do well with dairy, and maybe pizza is what you want at that second, but maybe your highest excitement or the step that makes you feel the best is passing on that and choosing something that makes your body feel more nourished. So it's a lot more intricate than give me anything I want kind of thing.
You're trying to go for your highest and greatest good. That's what I'm saying about highest excitement, the highest and greatest good, the things that serve you the best in the most benevolent way, which means being kind and gracious to yourself and other beings. So you want to go for your highest and greatest good, not just the good in the moment, but the highest and greatest good.
It is self-gratification, but it's self-gratification at a much higher level than the base human instinct or need. Yeah. Because
remember, your vibration is raising to match that excitement.
Yeah.
And the more you follow the path of excitement, the better you begin to feel.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the easier it is to let go of things that are impeding that flow too.
Yeah, because you're creating more joy as you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's self-perpetuating.
Absolutely. And, people say, well, I have all these bad things that happen in my life, or I have bad circumstances. Those things you can think of in your life as the contrast. Those things that are displeasing to you, when you think to yourself, I'm not happy about something, or I don't like the way that feels, that is your natural self, your true self, your essence of the source energy of the divine, telling you that you are out of alignment with your natural self.
Yeah, move away from it. If it hurts, get away from it. Yeah, if it was a physical thing, if you were touching something that was burning your hand, you wouldn't just sit there and go, "Oh my God, it hurts so much. Oh, what's that smell? Like, is that burning fish?" You would go, "Ow, that hurts," and you would get away from it. But emotionally, sometimes, especially with relationships or circumstances that have been a certain way for a long period of time, sometimes it is hard for people to let it go, like to move away from it. You would think that it would be easy to move away from something painful, but it isn't.
Yeah, well, we're human beings and we have that flaw. But the thing about contrast is it actually shows you and it brings you closer to what you actually do want.
Yeah,
So
the more uncomfortable it gets, the more difficult it is to hold on to the
because you physically tell yourself, I don't like this. I don't want to be a part of this. And by knowing what you don't want, it then shows you what you do want.
Yes. And that becomes the path of least resistance, because you're not pushing against or trying to force an outcome for something that doesn't feel good. Yeah.
Yeah. And to manifest things, you have to look where you think you are. In other words, like I was saying, the thoughts you're thinking, the vibration matches them. So if you want to change something in your life, then you look at you change the how is this happening. You ask yourself, why is this happening, right?
Right, and not in a self-pitying way, like, why is this happening?
Right.
In an analytical way. Yes, an objective way. Why is this happening?
So you ask yourself, what do you want that you don't have? And it's like a little self-interrogation to get you to see what it is that you're missing. And the word why holds you in the momentum of your desire longer.
Nice.
It keeps you in place so you can see what it is that you want, and then you can think the things that you need to be thinking to help bring that to you and get you on the right path, you see?
Yeah, sort of like a self-check, like, okay, yeah, I don't like this. Why are things the way that they are? And doing kind of a emotional analysis, maybe?
Well, emotional, yes, but also you're questioning the way in which you see things. And when you do that, it helps you clarify what it is that's going on around you, so you have to work within what exists. You can't just manufacture things that don't exist and expect that to be your reality, right?
Right.
And the other thing you that's really helpful is changing your definitions, the way that you think about things, because we've talked about this before, and when you're little and growing up, the people around you help form the definitions of what the meanings are for many things in your life. So, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your teachers, your friends, all these people help form what the definitions you've given to certain things in your life. And some people change the definitions, or we change them slightly as we get older, because life experience shows us what is and is not true and what we believe to be true in our world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that again is your perspective, right? So, you need to go back and think, have the definitions always been the same for me on a subject since I was a little boy or a little girl, or since I was a teenager, or in my 20s, or depending on how old you are, 30s, 40s, or 50s? Or did I go through life and as I changed the definitions along with my life?
Yes.
And a lot of people are holding on to definitions of things that no longer hold value and exist for them in physical reality. And that's where they get stumped, because they say, well, this is what that means, but that meaning is a worn out belief from a long time ago, you see.
Yes.
So if something continuously doesn't work for you in your life, you need to ask yourself, what is the definition of the thing that I'm having trouble with? And broaden your definition of whatever that is. And the more forms will be able to come to you. Like, more variations will come to you the broader you give the definition of what it is that's occurring in your life. So
yes,
you
yeah.
don't have.
I was just thinking, like, if your definition is very narrow, maybe something so narrow, like I'm not able to do that,
Right.
because someone told you that it's not possible, or you're too stupid, or you haven't got the strength or the endurance, and you have internalized that belief.
But you
And if
do.
you've never questioned it, do you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Then it's limiting. So expanding, I was just going into your expand the definitions. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're closing yourself off to that possibility. But
Yeah.
what I want to say to everybody, and this is true for all beings, every animal, plant, person, anyone that's breathing and alive on this planet, you can never run out of love and abundance and joy and all these beautiful things that you want to line your path with. You cannot run out of these things. People think, well, I don't have love, but that's because you're holding yourself separate from it. It's not that you don't have it. You just think you don't have it.
Well, because we have such a narrow definition of where that love has to come from. That love has to come from my ultimate soulmate that I haven't met yet.
No.
And if I haven't met him, then my life is meaningless. And we miss the incredible waves of love and the dimensions of love that are around us through nature, through spontaneity and circumstance and synchronicity and so many
through the divine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That all come from the divine.
Love from people that are trying to express it maybe in a way that we don't comprehend it. Like we maybe it doesn't come the way we want it to be, so we just discount it, but it isn't.
But let me really ask you, until you're in alignment, until you've redefined those definitions, until you've laid your path with these beautiful, loving, adjectives of love, basically.
Yes.
How do you expect it to come to you if you're not giving that to yourself? And you come to that place by being in the I am presence, which is from the essence that you are, from the divine, because
you are love. Yes,
that's right. You are love. So, you have to be able to give yourself that gift to receive that gift. If you want this burning love, this compassion and joy, you get a mirror image of who and what you are. So you have to be able to give that to get that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I love that you called it a state of being,
Yes,
love
it is.
Do you choose to be in a state of being of love, or do you choose to be in a state of being of fear? Because it is up to you whether you are going to be experiencing your life based on those two things.
Because you have free will. It is completely up to you how you choose to write the script of your life. And if someone's out there saying, well, that's not true, well, just think about it for a minute. This is your life, which in turn is your movie. And you choose the actors, you choose the script you follow. You are, in fact, the director of your life. So it is up to you to make those decisions as the creative being, like a director of your life.
Well, and don't you think that it comes down to allowing it or giving yourself permission?
Yes.
How would you put that?
Permission slips. Yeah. You have to be able to give yourself permission in life to do anything that you want to do. And that comes back to the I am state of being. You have to say, yes, this is good for me. Yes, this brings me joy. Yes, this is my highest and greatest good. You also say, no, that doesn't work for me. No, that pulls me out of alignment. No, I don't like the way that feels. So it is you who gives yourself the permission slip to whether or not you do or go about these things in your life. It is your free will. It is your choice. So, if you say, well, it's Friday night and I can go out and drink and have a good time and it, let off some steam, you give yourself permission to do that. And the people that stay at home and stay in and have dinner and watch TV, they have given themselves permission to do that. You have to take the permission slips that you've given yourself in life and hold yourself accountable for them.
Yeah. I like that. You had also had the second part of act in your highest excitement, to the best of your ability. But the half was without attachment to the outcome. Talk to us a little bit about how that happens.
Yeah, without holding yourself to a particular outcome. So the way that I think of this is, okay, so you know you're a manifester. You know that you're able to bring these things into your life by simply laying your path with these good thoughts, because the good thoughts are the vibrations, and the cleaner and better and higher your thoughts are to your highest and greatest good, the higher and cleaner and better your vibration is, right? Because they're like friends, they hold hands and walk the path together. So, when you're thinking about how you want to go about your life and what you want to come into your life, you need to come from a place of expansion. And the only way that you can do that is by being in the state of love. And I don't mean you have to walk around and be in love with everything, but I mean, you have
But you can radiate love, and it can be a diffuse love. It doesn't have to be like, "Oh, I love you." No, I love you. No, I love you. It
like
can just be
the
a peaceful
love.
Yeah.
So, but what I mean by that is, by being kind and generous, benevolent to yourself, and coming from a place of happiness and joy, and knowing that love can never run out for you. The only time, when you're with someone and you break up, or they're no longer your boyfriend or girlfriend, or you get divorced or whatever, it's because the other person is holding love from you. It's not that you don't have love. It's that they're not choosing to give you their love, okay? And we talked about this earlier. Your happiness doesn't depend on how someone else sees you. Your happiness comes from you, from within, from you knowing your true self and giving yourself the ability for you to give yourself love, and to know that because you are in the I am presence, because you are an essence of the divine, a part of the divine, and the divine, God, source, however you want to think of it, never makes a mistake. You are not a mistake. You are here intentionally, on purpose, right?
Right.
And
with our own will, yes.
Yes, with free will, exactly. And, you choose to be in a state of fear or love. So by being in a state of love and then thinking about it in a way that, you can, I did a little video on this on my Facebook page back in the fall, I think. And it was about being in a state of expandedness. And I talked about this week on my Facebook page. You come at it, you look at it from, okay, I give myself the ability to receive love, and I know that it can never run out for me. And by the same token, I give myself the ability to receive abundance, and I can never be separated from abundance, because I am abundant. And these things are available to me, but I have to believe they're available.
Right. And that goes back to your perception of ourselves as as the I am presence, the connection with all that is.
Yes.
Therefore,
Yes.
there is no limit, think
Yes.
bigger.
So in fact, by doing that and saying that, you've given yourself a permission slip to be that. And when you are being that, then you are that.
Yes.
So by being in a state of love, you are love. And that is the I am presence. That is is who you are, your true natural self from Creator. That is you.
Thank you,
in your highest
Andrea. We
form.
are at the end of our show. It went so quickly, and thank you so much. If you want to reach Andrea, her website is intuitivesoulhealer.com. Thank you all for listening. Remember, it is never inappropriate to be kind, and without integrity, you have nothing.